Hello there, my fellow Criterion collectors. We have some brand new announcements to talk about. Some very exciting things here, and I know I say that every time, but genuinely some really good stuff this month. And we have 7 new announcements to talk about. And these are all the titles for June 2025, so just in time for the 50% off Barnes & Noble sale. So let's just dive straight into the first film. It's the film Sorcerer, directed by the late William Friedkin. This film is excellent. If you've not seen it, please do change that at some point, because this is one of the most thrilling, suspenseful movies you can watch from this period of American filmmaking. This is not actually the first time this story was told in cinema, because The Wages of Fear, which is a classic piece of French cinema, one of my favourite films, is also taken from the same original novel that Sorcerer is an adaptation of. And William Friedkin himself would always say that this wasn't a remake of the French film, but there are some similarities here that are kind of hard to ignore. It's good timing as well, because Criterion quite recently released a 4K upgrade of The Wages of Fear, and both films are truly excellent and would make a great double bill, because there is enough difference here to really enjoy both films. It's a very simple story. This group of people are tasked with transporting this highly explosive material through the jungle, and the thrills and suspense that come out of that are some of the most effective that I have ever seen. Their new disc is going to be featuring a 4K restoration that was overseen by Friedkin before he passed away. And then there are a bunch of great special features on here. You get the documentary Friedkin Uncut from 2018. There's a brand new conversation between James Gray and Sean Fennessy. And then we've got behind the scenes footage, archival interviews, and a conversation between Friedkin and Nicholas Winding Refn, which I've seen on YouTube before and is quite entertaining. So this is a fantastic announcement, and I can't wait to hear more people discussing this film when Criterion release this in the summer. Next up is a fan favourite amongst many Criterion collectors getting a 4K upgrade. It is Terry Gilliam's film Brazil, which is such a wonderful film, very imaginative, and Terry Gilliam, he is one of the great visionary directors who has such a singular voice in cinema. When you see one of his films, you know it's one of his, and you don't mistake it for being made by anyone else. It's a film all about bureaucratic incompetence and systems that are just bogged down by all of this nonsense. And this film is such a satirical work, and even to this day, 40 years after release, it still absolutely works, and it speaks to many of the issues we see in modern life. So I think it is still an incredible film, and I'm very excited to see what the 4K disc looks like. Long-time collectors will know that Brazil has always been one that has been more expensive to buy than other Criterion discs, because this Blu-ray edition was 2 discs with the film on one disc and all of the features on another. And the 4K disc is going to keep up this trend of being slightly more expensive. So the 4K disc retails at $60 rather than $50. The 4K release is going to have the exact same artwork and the exact same special features. So nothing new to talk about except for how the film looks. So hopefully it's a great looking and sounding version of the film. We will see in just a few months' time. Then we have another 4K upgrade coming. This one, Mishima, A Life in 4 Chapters, from director Paul Schrader. This is, for my money, Paul Schrader's best film, and he has directed and written a lot of great films, but this one just tops them all. It is fantastic and quite different to a lot of his other films. The film is a biopic of sorts about the Japanese author Yukio Mishima, who had a very interesting life, including his beliefs and ideals, and ultimately how his life came to an end is quite interesting as well. But this is not just a straight telling of one man's life, because it is very evocative and colourful and goes to some very interesting places. This is not just like watching some true-to-life piece of storytelling. It's very hard for me to even describe. There are great sets, great cinematography, and you just have to see this film to know what I'm talking about. The film already has a Blu-ray release from Criterion, which I am holding here, and the cover of this is just very bold and garish, and in many ways this does evoke what the film looks like. The new 4K release is using the same 4K restoration that was featured on this Blu-ray from many years ago, supervised by Paul Schrader and John Bailey, the cinematographer. Although the 4K disc, according to Criterion's website, does not have any HDR grade on there, which, as always, will be a talking point for collectors, especially because this film is such a colourful film. The colours are so bold and rich. So it does seem like a film that would lend itself to utilising an HDR grade, but I will wait to see the results myself when it releases in a few months' time. All of the special features are the same. The artwork appears to be exactly the same. I don't know if it's going to be in a digipack like the older Blu-ray, or if they will just go with the standard Scanavo case. Regardless, this is an excellent film. I highly recommend this. Please do seek this one out. Paul Schrader is a unique voice in cinema, and he's also a unique voice on Facebook. If you follow him on Facebook, he posts on there almost every day, sometimes to the behest of his team when he's making the films, because they tell him not to go posting whatever he posts on there. So yeah, a very interesting fellow, and this is an excellent film, so please do check this one out. Now we have a 4K release of a film that is new to the collection, although the director certainly is no stranger. It is The Wiz from director Sidney Lumet. This is a retelling of The Wizard of Oz, starring Michael Jackson and Richard Pryor, and this is one I've actually never seen. This has always just evaded me somehow. I've seen so many of Sidney Lumet's works, but he was a prolific filmmaker, and he made at least one film a year, I think sometimes more than one film. So this is one of those that I have not yet seen. I've heard people say it is such a unique piece of filmmaking, both for the good and for the bad. So I'm definitely going to get this one because it's one I need to see, and it's getting a 4K release with a Dolby Vision HDR grade, and it has an audio commentary plus some archival interviews. So one I am absolutely going to get when it releases. But if you've seen this and you have any thoughts on The Wiz, do let me know in a comment below. Then we have a film coming to Blu-ray only, which I've not heard anyone talk about out of all these announcements. However, out of the bunch, this is one I am so excited to watch. It is the documentary from the 1980s, Thelonious Monk Straight No Chaser. This is a documentary about the jazz legend Thelonious Monk, one of the greatest piano players of all time. And I'm a huge jazz fan. I have an extensive collection of records on vinyl, a lot of Blue Note records and Verve records and other labels, and I absolutely love Thelonious Monk. That said, this documentary I have never seen, so I looked it up on Letterboxd and there are some great reviews about this. So again, absolutely, this is one I am getting. The Blu-ray is taken from a 4K restoration of the film. There is an interview on the disc with the son of Thelonious Monk, and there is a program talking to the director with some interviews on the making of the film. So another one that I am very excited for. But that isn't just the only film we're getting this month about a piano player, because we have the film 32 short films about Glenn Gould. Yet another film that I've not seen and haven't heard too much about, but from what I gather, this is not just a documentary, this is a fictional retelling of the life of Glenn Gould through these 32 scenes or different short stories. It's one that I'm basically going into blind because I don't know much about Glenn Gould. I don't know much about this film at all. And this is on a 4K disc as well as a Blu-ray with tons of great sounding special features. So I think by the time the sale rolls around, this is another one that I'm going to give a go. And then we have our 7th title of the month. It feels good to say that. It's the film Midnight, directed by Mitchell Leisen, starring Claudette Colbert and Don Amici. This is one that I've not seen. I've heard many great things about this from people who love screwball comedies. I love the central performers, but I also really admire the films of Mitchell Leisen. There's actually a great one that I've just pulled off my shelves here, which has been released by Indicator. It's the film Remember the Night. So I wanted to give a shout out to this because I really like the works of this director, and I'm hoping that I'm going to like Midnight. I'm fairly certain that I am going to like it. Although it's only a Blu-ray release, it is taken from a new 4K digital restoration, So hopefully it's going to look excellent. There is a brand new audio commentary, there is an archival interview with the director, and there is a radio adaptation of the story. So that's Midnight, rounding out a fantastic month of announcements from Criterion. The fact that we get 7 titles a month now, which is something I hope does keep up into the future, it means there's more chance that any one film fan will find at least one film that they're interested in getting. So I think it's a great thing. It's bringing more accessibility to these films and just getting these films in circulation in high quality with great special features. I think it's so important. So I tip my hat to Criterion for bringing us more titles a month. I think it is a great thing. But do let me know what you think about these particular announcements. Is there anything that is really standing out amongst these 7 titles? If you'd like to watch more Criterion themed videos from me and get some recommendations, then just click the video that's presented on screen right now, or just go and have a browse on my channel. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you soon.